Hi everyone. This is the second video on VueJS JWT cookie authentication. The cookie is HTTP only. Okay. So in this second video, our main target is uh, to invoke the refresh token endpoint. Okay. So in the first session, if you recall the first video, I have implemented user authentication and user login. Okay. So up to here we have did in the first video. Now in the first video I have shown you one problem like if user logged in and if he try to access login page, it should navigate into login page because we haven't supported our route guard to handle this kind of scenarios. So now we will fix this issue first, and next we are going to uh, implement refresh token endpoint. Okay, so let's jump into our sample. Okay, now the issue is happening with the when page reload. So now what we have to do? Okay, so when the page reloads and a user is authenticated, we should have some state variable. Okay, but our Vuex store will be destroyed once the application is reloaded. Okay, and we cannot access the or determine the whether the login cookie exists or not because HTTP only cookies not cannot be accessed by the JavaScript. Okay, so in this kind of scenarios, it is the best choice to add some variable or a flag into the local storage or the session storage based on your requirement. Okay, so now what I will do, I will add a small flag by on at the time of login. Okay, so without adding this flag also we can do, but the downside is whether user is authenticated or not on every route if the page reloads. Okay, or if page not reloads also on every route, we need to or we have to invoke the uh, this one. This dispatch is nothing but our user profile means, let me go here, profile API, this method, this action method, user profile. So the downside is on every navigation page, this API will be called. If the user logged in, then it is not a problem. But if user is not logged in and he is accessing our website like a guest, so on every page navigation, we end up with calling this profile URL every time. So to avoid this unnecessary API call, we are creating a one variable in local storage. If you feel this calling and user profile is not a unnecessary call, then you don't need to create the variable in local storage. But my suggestion is having small flag in local storage will be good to maintain persistent state. Okay. So in that case, what we will do while login, we have to set some local storage variable. So what I will do, this is our login action method, right? So here on success, I will do like local storage dot set item, and I will give key like is authenticated. Okay, and true. And we have to remove this variable when the user is logged out. So I'm going to add one more piece of line in logout. On successful logout, what I will do. So local storage dot remove. Now we are going to use this variable uh, in our route guard. Okay, let's jump over there. Now what I will do, I will check for user profile initially, whether it is logged in user or not logged in user. In any case, this line will be executed. Okay, now what I will do, I will check for user profile. Okay, and local storage dot get item. I'm going to assign the key value. So he is authenticated, right? So let's add here. If user profile doesn't exist, we know that initial value of ID will be 0, right? If ID equal to 0 and if you have local storage variable, then we are going to invoke this value. Okay, means this will call profile API. Means page is reloaded, then we will lose the store state, right? So at the time it will be 0. But we know we have set flag in local storage. So we are invoking the profile API. And now we can again update this variable by fetching the data from the store after the completion of the user profile API. Okay. Now what I can do, I can remove this additional if, right? So 2.meta.auth required. Okay. If it is still ID equal to 0, means authenticated route is accessing by non-logged in user, then we are redirecting to login. Okay. Else what we will do, if we not authenticated route, if user profile dot ID greater than 0, means user after logged in user trying to access the login page, think like that. Then return auth slash. Now let's try to check our application. Let me log out. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5, and let's me open console as well, so that I want to see the local storage variable. Okay, successfully logged in, and you can see local storage variable we have setting is authenticated is added. Now let me refresh. So this route is good, and let me try to access login. See, now automatically redirect back to logout. And also you can see in network calls user profile is called, right? That is because user is authenticated, but on page refresh we lost the data from the VueJS store. Then application will check for this variable. Since it is existed, this logic gets executed and invokes the user profile. Okay, now let's log out page and try to access dashboard. See, now it is handled clearly. Now let's check whether user profile API is called or not. You can see there is no user profile API. So we have avoided unnecessary user profile API by having a flag in local storage. So I think for our sample, this logic is enough for guarding our application against the user authentication and non-authentication, right? Okay. Now we need to And you can also check after login, logout, it's definitely clears our is authenticated is cleared because we have implemented that logic in logout action method to recall. Okay. Now we have to implement uh, refresh token invocation. Okay. Now for implementing refresh token, we have to use a concept called interceptor. Interceptors are nothing but they will intercept the request before going to the server from the point of trigger from our UI library. Okay. So I have already for in my server application, I have an endpoint for refresh token. So if we call that endpoint at the required time, so that's enough. Token in the cookie will be automatically regenerated. So here a refresh token also comes along with the access token, JWT access token inside of the cookie itself. So we no need to store in local storage, or we don't no need to do anything to interact with the access to refresh token. Okay, so everything will be taken care by the server only. Only thing we have to do is we need to invoke it at appropriate time. Okay, so let me show the endpoint for our refresh token. So in my blog you can see this is the refresh token endpoint. Okay, so we have to invoke this. Mentioned right, refresh tokens need to be used by the interceptors, right? So let's create the interceptor by using the Axios. So what I will do, I'll create a new folder. Okay, instead of shared, I'll create a interceptor. Okay, so first let's import the Axios library. Now chapter equal to Axios dot. I'm creating a new instance for the new Axios instance. So now this JWT interceptor also a custom Axios instance. Okay. Now what I have to do, JWT interceptors dot request dot use. Okay. So if our application is like token saving in local storage directly without cookie, then this request dot use middleware have some logic. We will have some logic like appending authorization header or appending refresh token header to the request before going to the server. Since our implementation is mainly depend upon cookie, so we no need to write any logic here. That means we simply uh, uh, proceed the request, okay, without any changes. But when we will intercept means, suppose if a secured endpoint is now for suppose let's think I'm accessing the profile, my profile using this JWT interceptor Axios. At that time, if my cookie is expired, then I am going to get response like 401 authorized, right? So for that, what I have to do, I need to capture the response before our client logic or our VueJS application reads the response. Before reading that response, what I will do, I am going to capture that response. So So first is in this response method, first input variable will be uh, response method only, means success response. In that case, what we will do, we will simply return that response. Next thing is capturing the error. Okay. Here we have to implement our logic to invoke the, what I can say, refresh token endpoint. If error dot response dot status equal to 401, that means unauthorized status, because we want to handle or invoke the refresh endpoint only unauthorized access only. Remaining cases we don't want to intercept it. Okay, we directly return the error to the our client application. For that, in the else condition, what we will do, return promise dot reject, where simply return the normal error, means any other than error like unauthorized, we will return directly to the client, means VueJS logic. Okay, here what we will do, 401 means unauthorized, right? We try to uh, invoke the refresh token here. So constant response equal to axios dot get and my endpoint, and I need to pass with credentials equal to true, right? Because it is cross domain. Now let me copy my URL from my blog. Here is my domain. Let me copy it and paste it over here. Since it is a asynchronous, right? Let me make it await and let prefix async here. Okay. So instead of using promises, it is very easy to use await. Okay. Now, and also captures the error here. Sorry, catch error console.log, not console.log, return promise dot reject dot error. Okay. And if data response, if response exists, means that a successful and some success message written from the server, then we simply return is the one more magic. What we will return means execute error dot conf. Okay, this error is from here. So what you are doing, nothing but here re-invoking the failed API. For suppose, let's think from my, let's go to router. So when user navigated, and if user ID equal to 0 and he found is authenticated, then what we are doing, we simply invoke the profile. So profile, before going to server, where it will come, it will come our interceptor. Okay, so in the request we haven't configured any changes, so it simply navigates to the server. But when servers it goes, if its cookie is expired, then it will comes to this error. If cookie is not expired, it simply returns the normal response. If cookie is expired, it will come here. So here what we are doing, if the exact error from the API is 400, which means unauthorized, then what we are doing, we are simply invoking the refresh token, which will generates new cookie with the new access token and refresh token inside of it. So, so what we are doing, after successful of that API call, we simply Invoking the old means my profile API, which is 400, right? So again, I am invoking. So Axios will automatically using this uh, configurations, old configurations, it will reinitiate the profile uh, API call. So second time it will re-invoke. Now we have already successful login cookie, right? Like refreshed cookie. Now we will get successful access. Again, this interceptor executes, and second time cookie is refreshed, right? So it will directly go here. It won't come here. If still it will comes here, it will get rejected. Okay. So that's the idea behind the refresh token, and you can add here as well in else. Just return promise dot result. Okay. Now this should be used by our profile. Okay. For that profile APIs, for that what I will do, I can go to my AuthJS module. So this interceptor, not for the provider only, all the secured APIs, you need to use this Axios instance instead of this Axios instance. Okay. And I haven't exported, I think. Okay. Now I can use. Okay. So what I will do simply, this is also Axios instance only, because here nothing but that variable, we are creating a new Axios instance. Okay. So what I will do, the auth.js, while invoking the so so this is my secured endpoint, right? So I can use it here. That's it. So you cannot use for login. You cannot use for logout. Another remaining all are secured endpoints. When you build a real-time application, you need to use this interceptor, because so that it can automatically refresh the logged in cookie without any issue. So let me save it, and what I will do, I will reduce my application to 30 seconds. My login cookie will expire in 30 seconds. Okay. So let me log in again. So go here, clean everything. Now here, let me log in. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I am successfully logged in. User profile. Okay. User profile will have our authenticated cookie. See. Okay. HTTP only cookie while requesting the login. So let me refresh now. Okay. Still it is expired. Let's wait for 30 seconds. See. Now it is expired. See. First request 400. See, we are sending cookie, but the JWT token inside of it has been expired. So server returned 400. Next, immediately what happened? Refresh token is invoked. See, refresh token, if you see the response header, it is setting new cookie. Okay, means it will contain newly generated access token. Now immediately user profile is again re-invoked. That is because of our interceptor. I have explained, right? Here. Here again invoking the sorry, this line of code on successful of refresh token, here and again invoking our failed API. In our case, nothing but our user profile. So next time what will happen with the new refresh token, new cookie, the request will be sent to the server. So that's how refresh token will be work in HTTP cookie only as well. Okay. So now you can log out, and check again. So that's all about. So in this video, what we have seen how to guard our routes more reliable way, and also we also implemented refresh token at the time of expiration of our cookie or our JW token instead of our cookie. So I hope this video has been delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. We will meet you again with new videos. Until then, signing off.